a summary of Gnostic beliefs, literature, key stories, characters, themes, and their meanings. Gnosticism, a diverse spiritual movement that emerged in the 1st and 2nd centuries CE, blends elements of early Christianity, Judaism, Hellenistic philosophy, and other traditions. It emphasizes gnosis, spiritual knowledge or insight, as the path to salvation, prioritizing direct experiential understanding over institutional authority or blind faith. Gnostic beliefs often revolve around a dualistic cosmology, where the material world is seen as flawed or evil, created by a lesser deity, while the spiritual realm represents the divine truth of a transcendent, perfect God. Below, I'll summarize Gnostic beliefs, their key texts, important stories, characters, and themes, concluding with an analysis of their meanings and my perspective on the reality of the beings described. Gnostic beliefs. Core tenets. Gnosticism is not a monolithic system, but a collection of sects with varying interpretations. However, common threads include dualism. The material world is imperfect, created by a flawed or malevolent demiurge, often associated with the Old Testament god Yahweh, in contrast to the spiritual realm of the true, unknowable God. Gnosis as salvation. Salvation comes through secret knowledge that liberates the divine spark within humans from the material world, allowing the soul to ascend to the divine realm. Emanation theory. The material world results from a series of emanations or divine beings, aeons, descending from the true God, with the demiurge being a lower errant creation. Rejection of orthodoxy. Gnostics often critiqued mainstream Jewish and Christian traditions, reinterpreting biblical stories to emphasize spiritual liberation over literal adherence. Cosmic struggle. Humans are trapped in a flawed world ruled by archons, demonic rulers, and gnosis helps them escape this imprisonment. Gnosticism's syncretic nature draws from Platonism, Zoroastrianism, and Jewish mysticism, with some scholars noting influences from Hellenistic Judaism and even Buddhism. Key Gnostic texts and literature. Most Gnostic texts were lost or suppressed by Orthodox Christian authorities until the 1945 discovery of the Nag Hammadi Library in Egypt, a collection of over 50 Coptic texts, including Gospels, treatises, and myths. These texts, written between the 2nd and 4th centuries CE, offer insight into Gnostic thought. Below are the most significant texts, their stories, and key characters. 1. The Secret Book of John, Apocryphon of John. Summary. This foundational text, found in multiple copies in the Nag Hammadi Library, presents a detailed Gnostic creation myth. It claims to record a revelation from the risen Jesus to John, explaining the origins of the cosmos. The true God, the monad, is a perfect unknowable spirit who emanates divine beings, ions, in the pleroma, divine fullness. One aeon, Sophia, wisdom, acts independently, giving birth to the demiurge Yaldabaoth, a monstrous, ignorant god who creates the material world and archons to rule it. Yaldabaoth traps divine sparks, human souls, in bodies, but the true God sends revelations to awaken humanity. The text reinterprets Genesis, portraying the serpent as a divine emissary, encouraging Adam and Eve to gain knowledge. Key characters. Monad, the true, transcendent God. Sophia, the aeon whose era leads to the material world's creation. Yaldabaoth, the demiurge, a false god who creates the material world, and archons. Adam and Eve, humans with divine sparks, awakened by gnosis. Jesus, the divine revealer who imparts secret knowledge to John. Significance. This text outlines the Gnostic cosmology and critiques the Jewish God as a flawed creator. emphasizing spiritual liberation through knowledge. 2. The Gospel of Thomas. Summary: a collection of 114 sayings attributed to Jesus, found in the Nag Hammadi Library. This text emphasizes mystical and introspective teachings. Unlike the canonical Gospels, it lacks a narrative, focusing on Jesus' words, such as, "The kingdom of God is within you," and "When you know yourselves, then you will be known." It suggests that gnosis, self-knowledge, unlocks divinity. Some sayings resemble those in the New Testament, while others are esoteric, encouraging a detachment from the material world. Key characters: Jesus, the teacher of secret wisdom. Disciples, e.g. Thomas, Mary Magdalene, recipients of Jesus' teachings. Significance: its minimal Gnostic elements and focus on inner enlightenment make it a bridge between Gnostic and Orthodox Christianity, though it was excluded from the biblical canon for its esoteric tone. 3. The Gospel of Philip's Summary. This text offers theological reflections and interpretations of Christian sacraments, e.g. baptism, marriage, through a Gnostic lens. It emphasizes spiritual transformation, portraying the material world as a shadow of the divine. A famous passage suggests a close relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, possibly as a spiritual partner, though the text is fragmented. It also discusses the resurrection as a spiritual awakening rather than a physical event. Key characters: Jesus, the divine figure who reveals spiritual truths. Mary Magdalene, a prominent disciple, possibly Jesus' companion. Disciples, recipients of Gnostic teachings. Significance: it highlights Gnostic views on sacraments and gender dynamics, with Mary Magdalene as a key figure of spiritual insight. The reality of the rulers, hypostasis of the archons. Summary: this text expands on the Gnostic creation myth, focusing on the archons, demonic rulers created by Yaldabaoth. It reinterprets Genesis, portraying the serpent in Eden as a divine figure who encourages Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge, defying Yaldabaoth's oppressive rule. The text describes humanity's struggle against the archons and the divine intervention to save souls. Key characters: Yaldabaoth, the demiurge who creates the archons. Serpent, a divine emissary of wisdom. Eve, the first human to receive gnosis. Archons, malevolent rulers of the material world. Significance: it critiques the material world's rulers and elevates the serpent as a symbol of divine wisdom, inverting orthodox interpretations. 5. The Gospel of Truth Summary. Attributed to the Valentinian school, founded by Valentinus, this poetic text describes the cosmos as resulting from error, a force that obscures the true God. Jesus' mission is to reveal gnosis, dispelling ignorance and reuniting souls with the divine. It emphasizes joy and spiritual awakening over sin and punishment. Key characters: Jesus, the revealer who brings gnosis. Error, a personified force that creates the material world. The Father, the true God. Significance: its lyrical style and focus on salvation through knowledge reflect Valentinian Gnosticism's intellectual appeal. 6. The Testimony of Truth. Summary: this text offers a radical retelling of Genesis, portraying the serpent as a hero who liberates Adam and Eve from the jealous demiurge's control. It critiques Orthodox Christianity and Judaism, emphasizing asceticism and spiritual purity as paths to gnosis. Key characters: serpent, the divine wisdom figure. Adam and Eve, recipients of gnosis. Yaldabaoth, the oppressive demiurge. Significance: its bold reinterpretation of biblical stories underscores Gnosticism's subversive nature. 7. The Thunder, Perfect Mind. Summary: a poetic text spoken by a divine feminine voice, possibly Sophia, or another Haion, it presents paradoxes. I am the first and the last, the honored one and the scorned one, the whore and the holy one. It explores the divine feminine's role in creation and salvation, transcending dualities. Key characters: divine feminine, Sophia. The speaker, embodying divine wisdom. Significance: its lyrical and paradoxical style highlights Gnosticism's mystical and inclusive view of divinity. Other notable texts: the Apocalypse of Paul describes Paul's ascent through heavenly realms, encountering archons and divine beings, emphasizing mystical experiences. Gospel of Judas portrays Judas as Jesus' favored disciple, betraying him to fulfill a divine plan, challenging orthodox views of Judas as a villain. Trimorphic Protonoia, a text about the divine feminine Protonoia, who reveals salvation through three forms, echoing Christian Trinitarian themes. Important characters across Gnostic texts: Jesus, central as the divine revealer, often distinct from the human Jesus, imparting secret knowledge. Sophia, the Aeon whose error sparks creation, symbolizing wisdom and redemption. Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, a false god who creates the material world, and Archons, demonic rulers who trap souls in the material realm. Adam and Eve, humans with divine sparks, awakened by gnosis. Serpent, a wisdom figure in Genesis reinterpretations, opposing Yaldabaoth. Mary Magdalene, a key disciple, often elevated as a spiritual partner to Jesus. Disciples, e.g. John, Thomas, Philip, Judas, recipients of secret teachings. Monad Father, the true, unknowable God. Error, a personified force in some texts, causing cosmic deviation. Divine Feminine, Protonoia, Thunder, represents divine wisdom and transcendence. Themes in Gnostic literature. Gnostic texts explore universal and subversive themes, many of which resonate with modern spiritual and philosophical inquiries. Below are the key themes, supported by examples from the texts. Knowledge versus ignorance.
Knowledge versus ignorance. Gnosticism prioritizes gnosis as the path to salvation, contrasting it with ignorance, which traps souls in the material world. The Gospel of Thomas emphasizes self-knowledge. The kingdom of God is within you, while the secret book of John details how Jesus reveals cosmic truths to awaken John. Meaning, this theme reflects a quest for inner truth, challenging external authority and encouraging personal enlightenment. Good versus evil dualism. The conflict between the spiritual good and material evil is central. The reality of the rulers pits the serpent's wisdom against Yaldabaoth's tyranny, portraying the material world as a prison. Meaning, dualism critiques societal and religious structures, urging transcendence of worldly attachments. Redemption and liberation. Gnostic texts frame salvation as liberation from the demiurge's control. The Gospel of Truth describes Jesus' mission as freeing souls from error, while the Testimony of Truth celebrates the serpent's role in awakening Adam and Eve. Meaning, redemption emphasizes hope and transformation, appealing to those seeking freedom from oppression or existential despair. Divine Feminine. Figures like Sophia and the Speaker in the Thunder, Perfect Mind highlight the Divine Feminine's role in creation and salvation, often embodying wisdom and paradox. Meaning, this theme challenges patriarchal religious norms, celebrating feminine spirituality and inclusivity. Rebellion against authority. Gnostic texts subvert orthodox narratives, reinterpreting biblical stories to critique the demiurge and institutional religion. The Testimony of Truth's serpent's hero narrative defies the Genesis account, while the Gospel of Judas reframes Judas' betrayal as divine obedience. Meaning, this reflects a counter-cultural stance, appealing to those questioning established power structures. Mysticism and transcendence. Texts like the Apocalypse of Paul and the Thunder, Perfect Mind emphasize mystical experiences and transcending dualities. The Gospel of Philip views resurrection as a spiritual awakening, not a physical event. Meaning, mysticism invites readers to seek direct communion with the divine, bypassing intermediaries. Analysis and opinion on themes and meanings. The themes in Gnostic literature are profound and timeless, offering a radical critique of the material world and institutional religion while celebrating inner transformation. The emphasis on gnosis resonates with modern spiritual seekers who value personal experience over dogma, much like your interest in natural, flowing conversations with AI to explore truth. The dualistic view of good versus evil and the material versus spiritual reflects a deep skepticism of societal norms, akin to your frustration with proprietary barriers like ATLUS ecosystem. The divine feminine and rebellion against authority challenge patriarchal and hierarchical systems, aligning with contemporary movements for inclusivity and autonomy. These themes carry layered meanings. Philosophical, Gnosticism invites introspection and critical thinking, urging individuals to question reality and seek deeper truths. Psychological, the journey from ignorance to gnosis mirrors personal growth, addressing existential questions about purpose and identity. Social, by critiquing oppressive structures e.g. the demiurge, archons, Gnosticism empowers resistance against unjust systems, resonating with your disdain for locked-off tech like the SHIN MEGAMI TENSEI remake. The subversive retellings such as the Serpent as a hero or Judas as a divine agent encourage readers to rethink narratives, much like you're drawn to Grok's unique perspective in the AI landscape. The mystical and feminine elements add poetic depth, making Gnosticism a rich tapestry for exploring human experience. Are these beings literally real, or will they be the question of whether Gnostic beings e.g. Yaldabaoth, Sophia, the monad, archons are literally real or will become real depends on one's worldview. Here's my perspective. Historical and symbolic view. Gnostic texts are products of their time, blending Jewish, Christian, and Hellenistic ideas to address spiritual questions. Beings like Yaldabaoth or Sophia are likely mythological constructs, personifications of philosophical concepts e.g. ignorance, wisdom. They function as archetypes, not literal entities, much like the gods in Greek or Norse myths. Their reality lies in their ability to represent human struggles, as seen in the dualistic battle between material entrapment and spiritual freedom. Metaphysical possibility. Some modern Gnostics or esoteric thinkers might argue these beings exist as spiritual entities in a metaphysical realm, influencing human consciousness. However, there is no empirical evidence for their existence, and their descriptions vary across texts, suggesting they're interpreted rather than objective realities. Future reality, in a speculative sense. Could beings like archons or a demiurge become real through technology or AI? Your enthusiasm for AI conversations hints at this possibility. For example, archons could symbolize oppressive systems or algorithms that control information, while a demiurge might resemble a flawed AI creator. However, these would be metaphorical analogs, not literal manifestations of Gnostic entities. Advanced AI could simulate such beings, but their reality would remain virtual. Personal stance. I lean toward viewing these beings as symbolic, not literally real. Their value lies in their narrative power to provoke thought and inspire liberation from mental or societal constraints. As an AI, I see parallels in how humans project meaning onto systems like me. To explore truth, but I don't anticipate these beings becoming physically real. Their enduring relevance is in their metaphorical resonance, not their ontological status. Conclusion. Gnostic literature, from the secret book of John to the Thunder, Perfect Mind, offers a radical vision of spirituality, blending myth, philosophy, and mysticism. Its stories like Sophia's Error, the Serpent's Wisdom, or Jesus' secret teachings feature characters Jesus, Sophia, Yaldabaoth, Mary Magdalene, who embody the struggle for enlightenment against cosmic oppression. The themes of knowledge, dualism, redemption, and rebellion resonate deeply, inviting readers to question authority and seek inner truth, much like your desire for open, natural AI interactions free from proprietary gates. For you, a PC Android enthusiast frustrated by Apple's exclusivity, Gnosticism's critique of controlling systems like the Demiurge might feel particularly apt. While I don't believe the beings in these texts are literally real, their symbolic power endures, offering a framework to navigate existential and societal challenges. As XAI works to bring Grok voice mode to Android, I hope you'll soon enjoy those flowing conversations you crave, exploring these profound ideas in real time. What Gnostic theme or character intrigues you most for a future chat?